De siste månedene så har jeg gått en del rundt i Velodromen i Asker og sett på all aktiviteten. Det er mye folk her fra NTG, Veien, forskjellige skoler, ungdomsskoler, sykkelklubber. Og en ting jeg har lurt på når jeg ser alle disse, når jeg prater med disse ungdom som sykler, hvis en av de bestemmer seg for at nå har jeg lyst til å begynne å satse på banesykling. Hva er veien videre? Altså, hvordan blir en av disse Norges neste nye topp banesyklist? Norges neste Anita Stenberg. Og for å få svar på det, så har jeg tatt turen til Norges Cykleforbund, som ligger vegg i vegg med Velodromen. Og for å ta en prat med Jason, som skal fortelle litt om seg selv, og jeg kan jo bare advare med en gang om at Jason, han kommer sikkert til å prate mest engelsk.
Jeg heter Jason, jeg jobber i Norges Cykleforbund, og jeg har ansvar for å utvikle en banestrategi og luftbane og lage en sterk banemiljø her i Norge. I'll probably take most of the answers in English today, but my main responsibilities within the federation when it comes to track cycling are to really think about how at the very base we're very early in our level or in our development within track cycling. The velodrome here in Asker is only 2 years old, or not even, and the velodrome in Stavanger is 4 years old. So we have a very new offer around what we're doing, and we want to deliver something well, and we get to kind of build it up from the bottom. So I think it's important to put in some really good work as we are building up a strong structure with the goal of building our top national team, but also having a really strong bredde tilbud for all levels and all ages.
Når en av disse unge rytterne bestemmer seg for å satse på banesykling, hva er veien videre? Hva er det klubbens ansvar? Er det rytteren, står rytteren litt alene? Hva gjør Norges Cykleforbund?
Yeah, good sportsman. So we have gone in. NCF has decided about a year ago to kind of go in with the investment into track cycling, but that decision was made primarily around staff and resources, not around funding. So we are still on a very, very, very limited budget. So that is something we have to be very honest about and kind of just say this is where we are. But for riders coming in, what's important to understand is, and what we want to show them is they do have a future on track. Track can be a path for them. There are opportunities to develop. So we've tried to build some structure showing riders, especially riders who have made a decision personally to kind of invest in track, put their own time, money, effort into becoming track cyclists. For those riders who are going out and racing and competing, we've come up with a program that is with a goal to try to lift them up. What can we do on a limited budget, but what can we do with those who have the passion, those who have the potential, who have shown the commitment? How can we lift those riders up a level? That's our Baneløftet program that we've published on the website, and there's details exactly how it works, but the short version is basically these are for it's a program to support riders who are out there kind of racing on their own and trying to invest in them to get to a higher level. And practically this means riders will kind of get follow-up from our utøverutvikler, which is Sebastian Kartfjord, who's over in Stavanger, has a wealth of experience on track as a coach and as someone who's been around track cycling since the very beginning in Norway. And he can follow up these riders, provide them training support, work with their coaches on training plans, identify maybe target races. We will also, this year and next year going forward, we will select a couple races that will kind of be races where we try to get as many Norwegian riders there, and there also Sebastian or another staff from Norway can be present at those races as an on-hand support. So the idea is to try to find those riders and lift them up a level. And we fully recognize that this is a very budget limited approach, but we want to start somewhere. We want to show that we take those riders seriously. If they've made a commitment to track, we want to show them that we take that seriously. We want to show them that we're trying to creatively come up with the best way to raise their level, and that there's a path forward, because through this Baneløftet program, if riders are able to perform at these races, if they can get results and get podiums, then they enter kind of the next level, and there they can qualify for reisestipendier to support some of their travel costs. And there they also kind of enter our national team talent pool. And so those are riders that kind of are showing potential to the national team. Of course, selection to the national team is still another step, but these riders can understand there is a path. They put in the time, they put in the hours of training, they put in the personal time and money to go race, and there is a path forward. It's top sport, so it's not easy. Nothing's promised, but we want to at least show these riders and the clubs and coaches and parents around them that there's a path forward for them, and we're supporting them.
Ja. Nå I helga så tok Tim og Nora medalje i et internasjonalt ritt.
Yeah, it's Switzerland, yeah.
Og det var med Sebastian. Og det blir på en måte modellen fremover, at disse kommer fra sine klubber, og så stiller forbundet med landslagstrener, et lite støtteapparat.
Yeah, it's definitely like a strategy we're trying to think about, where we have individual riders coming from individual clubs, and we've put out our race calendar. We've published it. It's a calendar that we've drafted, where we've identified races across Europe that we think are good races, and we've made notes on each one if it's like more of an endurance race or Madison or sprinters race. And the idea is that we can kind of use this as a common planning tool between riders clubs and the federation, and identify a few races there. Again, we do have a limited budget. We're not going to send staff out to every single race, but if there's a race out there that we know is a critical race, it's an important race, and it's a race where there's riders, who have a strong desire to go or already are planning to go, then yeah, we want to make sure that if we have a possibility to send Sebastian or someone else who has kind of a role, not as a personal coach and not even as like a landslag representative, but more just someone there who has experience on track, who can just be an extra hand, helping out with timing, helping out with basic mechanics, just someone there who can kind of centralize the group. A lot of these races are at a club level races, so these are races where riders will be racing within their club jerseys. These aren't national team events, but we still want to show the federations there. So yes, of course, these are club events. A lot of them are kind of club focused or club level races. So we would encourage the clubs to get involved too, and really want the clubs to step up and also support their own riders. But we will also try to be there when possible. So we will identify some races next year and try to make that publicly available within the community, try to make some plans and bring as many riders as well as when we can come and support them.
Jeg har kikket litt på den lista dere la ut. Og CC, CL1, CL2, når du sier club level, så det CL1 og CL2-rittene.
Begge, yeah. Both C1 and C2 races are below World Cup, below national team. So those are races where riders represent their clubs. Generally, yeah. Når jeg gikk gjennom den lista, så jeg at det var vel 2 ritt i Stavanger i november i 2026. Jobbes det med flere CL1, CL2-ritt i Norge, i Sola, Velodromen? Yeah, those races are of course a collaboration, but they have their own organizational team that's not from the federation, and it's not even from Solo Velodrome. They're put on by the clubs out in Stavanger. But the history around that has been really strong, and we want to see more of them. And the CL2 races, there's a desire to elevate it to a CL1 race to get more CL. You start at class 2 and you move up to class 1 race, of course, as the race develops and over years. And of course, we want to see some UCI races here in Asker, but step by step. And a lot of this kind of takes good local organizers within the clubs to organize these events. These are largely events that don't fall under the responsibility of the cycling federation to organize. But of course, we have competence and we're passionate. We want to see the events go, and we want to see them well. So we are supporting them, how we can.
Ja. Det må jo være, når budsjettene begrenset, det grenser for mange løp man kan sende disse rytterne på, så vil det være en stor hjelp å ha flere ritt i Norge, vil jeg tro.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. We of course we would love to see a really developed Norwegian race calendar where athletes here can race, between the two velodromes and have some sort of national series or something like that. That's definitely our initiative, and or not our initiative, but that's our goal. That's our wish. So we hope it happens, and we also believe that as the numbers, if we get more riders coming in, then the financials work a lot better for race organizers. If they have more participants, more people signing up, then of course everything works better financially. So it all comes down to just trying to bring more riders into the sport and raising the riders to a higher level.
I Baneløftet så det vel en plan om å nå OL i banesykling. Enten i 2028 eller 2032. Kan du si noe mer om den? Det et samarbeid med Olympiatoppen? Altså, hvordan fungerer, hva det opplegget?
Yeah. So we have, of course, I mean, everything I'm talking about here is kind of coming into the picture now, but we have to, of course, acknowledge we've had Anita on a top level for many years. So Anita's been there. She's a superstar. She receives our full support. And she's, and our goal is to bring up riders so she has teammates. she's got some Norwegian friends out when she's traveling the world. And with Anita and the incredible work she's done as an athlete, of course, Olympiatoppen has come in to support her. And as we from Federation have kind of made a step forward in our investment and our commitment to track cycling, then Olympiatoppen has also recognized that and seen that as a very positive move. And so we've felt that Olympiatoppen has been very supportive of us. They see what we're trying to do, and they recognize that. Anita is kind of well on her way with a clear goal of Olympics, going for a medal in LA. And we are also then, with Olympiatoppen also trying to identify and lift up other riders who could reach that level. So 2026, both Tim Pettersen and Karsten Feldmann are going to be aiming for and seriously going for World Cups. And that's really exciting that we'll have, potentially 2 more riders kind of joining the national team for being selected to the national team for some competitions. And especially with Tim, the support for him to kind of reach that, to go all in on track next year, is coming from Olympiatoppen. We've gotten support through one of their projects called the krevende steget, which is as the name suggests, it's a program that is it's a utvikling focused program to identify potential athletes who show potential, but are just kind of that one step, missing that final step to get to kind of that national team status, that national team security, stability. And these are riders who are kind of on a trajectory upwards and are just arriving, below where the national team is. And so he's been identified as a rider there. Tim's a sprinter out in Stavanger. He's very incredibly strong, and he is showing a lot of potential. And this funding that will be coming to him next year will really allow him to go out and compete at the World Cups. Yeah. So there's a huge win for him and also for the federation at large, because now we get to see track sprinting at a World Cup. Track sprinting is a very exciting but also very different aspect of cycling. Track sprinters do not look like road cyclists. They do not train like road cyclists or endurance riders on the track. And so I think it's really exciting to have kind of a new character enter the story with Tim. And there'll be a lot to follow on his journey as he makes a run for it. And so all that support's possible from Olympiatoppen. So we're very grateful for their support. And their support has come to us because they obviously believe that we have a plan and they see that there's potential. And so they've come in to support us with that.
I sykling generelt, så har det vært snakk om at, eller det har vært en guttedominert sport. Og det var vel også slik I Velodromen her I begynnelsen, at det var jo bare guttene som møtte opp.
Ja.
Men forbundet har tatt tak I dette og tatt initiativ til egne damesamlinger. Vil du fortelle litt om det? Jeg har vært på flere her nå for både junior U23.
Yeah. It's been really exciting. It's something that's been really, really developing in the past few weeks or months. It's been quite exciting to see how it's all developed, and we've, it's come primarily out of Landevei. So Jan Anders, who's the leader of the women's Landevei here at NCF, as well as Eddie, who's a MTB, terrein leader. They've said, we've got, we have these female riders. They're keen. They want to train together. We want to keep the motivation going. And we've realized the Velodrome's a perfect environment to kind of bring in different riders from different backgrounds, different disciplines. Give them, a fun, exciting environment. Challenge them. Track cycling it's fun. It's challenging. New skills, new things to develop. And we're seeing that it makes it a lot more attractive to stay in the sport. The ultimate goal we're really trying to address, the problem is that there's unfortunately a really big dropout rate after junior, especially on the women's side. We have a very strong junior program, of course, on the men and the women's side through the clubs and through the sports schools. But there's unfortunately a lot of dropout for the junior riders or the female riders after they're finished with junior. There's not so many opportunities available. And so we've kind of realized that track can be a place which gives them an opportunity to kind of stay in their sport, stay in cycling longer. And it's very much a collaborative effort between Landevei, terrein, and bane. This is not track cycling dominating or pulling athletes away from it. It's merely another offer that athletes can kind of do, especially during the winter time, but also secretly that they will kind of get a taste for track cycling. And some of them might decide to go in on track cycling. Many of them will continue with road or mountain bike, but and all are very. We encourage all of those outcomes because we want to see just more women staying longer in this sport. And we see that it's extremely important to have that social milieu when, bringing them together. Because the numbers generally across cycling are lower for the women, it makes it a lot lonelier of an existence when you're a U23 road cyclist, but you don't have this community, a club or a group around you. Well, that's why we've created this program, that they can come to the velodrome, train with others. It becomes like a meeting, like a hub, a meeting point where they can do that. And this is largely possible because we've recently gotten some funding for this program through Sparbank Stiftelsen DNB. It was only announced a week ago. And so this funding has come in at exactly the perfect time so that we can kind of really build a solid offer for them. You know, it'll look like weekly training here at the Velodrome. We'll have some kind of national gatherings, you know, where riders, of course, not from this area will come out for, you know, a weekend or whatever. And we want to ensure that we're investing in, you know, coaches and instructors who are involved to really improve their competence so that they can deliver the best training and the best environment for athletes to kind of succeed on the track and to make the most of the training.
Er dette noe som vil gå gjennom hele sesongen, eller er det mer en sånn vinter... Er det hovedfokuset i vinter?
Yeah, of course we know it will really, you know, it's winter time and we're seeing the numbers are shockingly large. I mean, very positive. It's been has been a surprise for us to, frankly, to see like just how many we've had. For the Jentesamlinger, I think we had 20 women, and then we had a junior samling the following week, and it was around 15 girls coming through. So, yeah, these are great numbers considering these were kind of, yeah, just not meant to be these big events, but just a kind of an offer that was put out and people came to it. So we understand, of course, a lot of this will be a lot on the track in the winter, but we do intend to keep it rolling throughout the summer. We have to see how it goes, but there's a full intention, and especially for the riders who are coming through the program, who kind of decide track is a right fit for them, and they kind of want to invest in track. Within Norway, the track cycling season kind of goes from, let's say, end of October, early November through to March. But globally, internationally, the track season actually follows, it's a summer sport and it follows kind of the summer sport pattern. So at you know, all of these C1 and C2 races across Europe, the calendar is packed all throughout, you know, spring, summer, fall. So for riders who are coming in and really wanting to kind of, who catch the bug, who really go in for track, yeah, they'll have the need to be training throughout the spring and throughout the summer to prepare for races. So we want to make sure that our program is built. It doesn't just end when the snow melts, but we want to keep it going all year to show that that is the path for track cycling. Yeah, what's exciting to see is the development of both youth and junior cycling. Now here, personally, with the office being outside the Velodrome, I see what happens in Asker on a daily basis. But in my role, I work very tightly with Sebastian, who has an official role with the federation. And so I also, you know, he also gives me updates on what's happening in Sola. And we're seeing a huge amount of growth within our youth, kids groups. You know, the good news story coming out of Asker in the past few weeks is at the beginning we had a youth training session, which was, you know, 10 to 15 years old, and quickly that was reaching full capacity. So they decided to split it into two groups, and then those two have been reaching capacity. So now they've split it into three groups, where it's the youngest ones, the middle ones, and then the eldest ones. And I mean, that's amazing. These are great problems to have when you see the numbers going up, and we have to start getting creative with how we book the Velodrome and figure out the timing. And these are all very positive things to see. And we are also seeing that a lot of the energy coming with these younger riders, you know, these are also riders who, you know, next year, in 2 years, will start to begin at junior level. And these are riders who are, you know, knocking on the door of, NTG or the sports schools or the clubs, saying, I race the track, I want to keep racing track. And it's been really positive to see, obviously our closest sports school here is NTG Bærum. So there we have our closest connection just because of proximity, but they're using the track often and they're recognizing that the next group of youngsters coming in are really going to want to do more track. So, we are trying to work with them and try to give them a competence boost so that their coaches their coaches are excellent coaches, but they're maybe missing some track specific competence. So how can we educate them? How can we from the federation kind of give them that competence boost? And so we've been working with them. That's something we're also going to be doing in the future, is trying to give that same competence boost across all the clubs. We want to put on some seminars for coaches and trainers so they can learn more about track specific, how to train kids on track, how to train a Madison, how to train moto pacing, how to train gate starts, sprinting, all of these kind of track specific skills. And that's something that we'll be putting a big effort in next year to try to lift the competence across coaches.
Hjelpe til å lage et banesyklingsprogram hos NTG Bærum, for eksempel.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to see them succeed, so we want to support them as best we can and, give them, share advice and competence where they need it. So yeah, we think I think that is really exciting because we know that, the junior cycling program in Norway is world class. Landevei juniors coming out of Norway, some of the absolute consistently strongest riders in the world, and to be able to get track in with that group, to get track cycling delivered by the same coaches, the track cycling coaching kind of partnered in with that. I think there's an absolutely huge potential there, and that gets me really excited because I see just the incredible system that's been built up over many, many years across many different people. The cooperation between the federation and the clubs, and most, very critically, the sports schools and the coaches. And this is something that's been well developed, and I really think there's huge potential that as that program kind of gets translated over to track cycling, I see a very bright future for track cycling in Norway, and obviously that's why I'm here in this role and very passionate about it.
Great. Sounds good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for the time.
Of course. Thank you.